Welcome to Avalon State of the Arts, where we explore different components and dimensions of our school, Avalon School of the Arts, and its music counterpart, the Avalon Music Academy of Holland.
We're your hosts, Rich and Marie, and we look forward to sharing interesting topics about our school in a fun, easy-to-listen-to format.
Because my mom, who founded our school, taught me, if you're not having fun with this, then you're not doing it right. We're so excited for this new podcast about our school. Maria and I love to talk with our students and families, and we felt this would be a great way to be able to reach a lot of people at once. Each week we'll have fun stories about different aspects of our school. It's going to be informative and fun. We're going to focus on our audience of current students and families, and also those interested in lessons and classes. We're going to have some great stories, interviews, guests, some history of the school, and we'll take apart the special things we do, and a lot more. The specific impetus for this is an experience I just had giving a 15-minute presentation for an International School of the Year contest, which we got runner-up for. Woo! Basically, I had a really fun time preparing for it, and we thought, wouldn't this be fun to do every week to showcase some different areas of our school, share some stories, and look at some ways you can deepen your experience with us and with the arts. That's the beginning, but we're going to see where it takes us. We'll be doing different focuses on all the things we do, music, dance, and theater. But right now we have a pressing issue. As you know, it is coming time for recital season. So we're going to start with dance recitals and get into the things you can do to prepare for the rehearsals. After that, we'll get into recital day, and we'll also be doing some episodes on our music recitals coming up soon. So without further ado, Avalon, State of the Arts. Well, hi, Marie.
Hi, Rich.
I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to be here with you, too.
And we're already breaking new ground because we've been married 24 years this month, and this is the first time I get to do an interview with you.
And this is the first time we've ever done a podcast.
Breaking the rules to free our hearts. Okay, well, let's get going. I was thinking we could get started if you could just give us an overview of the recital.
Yeah, so this year's dance recital is going to be held on June 7th and 8th at Holland Christian High School. We are having our 20th anniversary recital this year, so it's a big one. It's an important one, and the theme is home. And this is a theme I chose for the recital last year, actually right around this time, because it was this time last year that we were exploring the options about purchasing our new building, and we knew we would be moving into our own permanent home for Avalon. And I thought that was particularly significant since it's our 20th year, and I had this theme selected even before we had done last year's recital, which is pretty uncommon, but I knew this is where we were going this year. The teachers have had a lot of fun selecting music that fits this theme, and there are going to be a lot of program notes in the program this year that kind of tells everyone where the teachers were coming from with their song selections.
Wonderful. Well, I can appreciate that topic of home because I do feel that we are home here, and we are actually at our home now then too, because we're recording in my office. So every now and again, we're right on the side of 31. You might hear a car go by. We're safe. We're just next to the highway. So the location, Holland Christian High School, it's an amazing facility. Take us through where to get to where we need to go.
So both the rehearsal and the recital are located at Holland Christian High School. They're not at Avalon. So the auditorium is located at 950 Ottawa Avenue. That's on the south side of Holland. And there are multiple doors to that building because it is a high school. But they were fortunate because they all have very big letters printed on the side of them. And the door that we want to enter through is door F. So that's going to give us the best access to nice parking, and then it's just a straight shot down the hallway to the auditorium. When families arrive for rehearsal, they're going to come right down that hallway from door F and go sit down in the auditorium. We always do a briefing of what's going on and what to expect at the beginning of each rehearsal so that everybody knows where they're going and when to go there. We have a lot of new families with us this year, and so we don't expect people to read our minds and know where to go and what to do and what to expect. So we really try to, throughout the entire rehearsal and recital process, to explain things the best we can so people can go into it with a lot of confidence.
Exactly. And I guess the rationale for my question is that I've gotten lost there before. So basically, we're going to be off of Ottawa Avenue, and it's north of 40th.
That's right. So sometimes if you put Holland Christian High School into your GPS, it'll take you to 40th Street and the parking lots and the entrances that are closer to that end of the building. But you really want to go for door F.
Wonderful. Well, we've gotten in the door. What do we do now?
Okay, so at rehearsal, so I got to back up just real quick and tell you when rehearsal is. So we have 4 days of rehearsals. Now, that does not mean that every child needs to come to every rehearsal, because most of our dancers take one class once per week. So that means they will attend one rehearsal and one recital. Now, the rehearsals themselves are all in the after-school hours. So usually we start about 4:30 and we go until about 8:30. That doesn't mean that your child will need to be there for that entire 4-hour block of time. That's just when we're calling different groups to come and rehearse. So we will break each rehearsal block down into about an hour, which has about 10 dances that are called at that time. So when the rehearsal schedule comes out, you want to look at that rehearsal schedule, find out which block your child's dance is in, and then you only come during that hour. You come right like 10 minutes early for that time. You sit down in the auditorium, and when we start your rehearsal block, we'll give you all the information you need, and then you can leave as soon as your child's done rehearsing.
And this is a mandatory rehearsal.
Absolutely. And it is absolutely mandatory, and it's not just because we're trying to be sticklers. It's because children need to experience, especially if it's their first recital, but really everyone, they need to go and experience what they're going to be expected to do when they are performing in the actual performance at the recital. So children, if they do not have an opportunity to rehearse and to get comfortable in a space, can experience stage fright, they can experience anxiety, they can get disoriented on stage because the stage lights are very bright and it's a different space than they're used to dancing in than the dance studios here at Avalon. So rehearsal is absolutely crucial for getting children to feel comfortable and to perform with confidence.
That's a great point, because I talk to my music students about this sometimes also, that basically what we're trying to do is set you up for success. And I'm going to talk about this in one of our future podcasts about a presentation that I had to give. And the rehearsal for that presentation was such a huge part of it. So basically, being at the rehearsal is one more repetition that you can get. And that's your secret weapon to a great performance. Nobody's just great right off the bat. As many repetitions as you can get to feel comfortable with it, the better off you're going to be.
Absolutely.
All right, then. Well, what should my child wear to this rehearsal?
Well, your child will probably be working backstage, so they won't wear anything.
Fair enough.
But kids who are coming to rehearsal need to come in their costumes. So it is a dress rehearsal. We get questions about this every year. Does my child need to wear their costume to dress rehearsal? Now, of course, the logical answer to us is yes, of course. But if you're not someone who has experience in dance or theater or any of the performing arts, that might not be clear to you. What is a dress rehearsal? Why do we call it that? It's because we dress in our costumes and we perform on stage as if it is a performance so that we are ready for the actual performance. So kids need to come in the correct color tights. They need to be wearing their costume, and they need to have their hair done in the style that is designated for their costume. And that, of course, is partially aesthetics. Like, it's nice to see the kids looking how they're going to look on stage. But we also have a photographer who's going to be at the dress rehearsals with his white backdrop set up to do portraits. So if you want to have your child's portrait taken in their recital costume, it's easy. It's right as they exit stage. He'll be set up right there, and they can get their picture taken.
Pictures. Now, that's a great topic to get into. As far as pictures, at the rehearsal, this is okay, right?
Yes, taking non-flash pictures during rehearsal or even video, that is absolutely fine. We expect that parents will want to do that. And rehearsal's a good time to do that. During the recital, these things are not allowed because it's very distracting to the performers. It's distracting to the people around you. We have a wonderful videographer and an extremely talented photographer who will be capturing those images. But more importantly, the dance recital, because we see this as an opportunity to celebrate with the kids and really be in the moment with them and appreciate how hard they've worked to get to where they are on stage. We really just want families to be in the moment. And it's easier to do that when you're not watching your loved ones perform through a screen.
Yeah, that's a great that's a great angle, and I think of it in that way. It's funny. I get to be the person who makes the announcement for this before the recital. So each year I try to think of some new creative way to do it. But what I think it comes down to is there's three components. For one thing, we don't want to have the child distracted. Also, too, we want to show respect to the other people in the audience and not block their view and create a distraction for them. And then, just as you said, this is a really awesome time to just experience all of the things that your child has been up to for this whole semester. And, you know, I find myself getting into this from time to time. For instance, oh gosh, when we would go see concerts, you always want to think, hey, I want to take a video. But the issue is that you kind of miss the spectacle of what's going on. And since we have somebody already lined up to do this who does an awesome job, let them do their job and
Absolutely.
Just have fun and experience the show.
I agree with that. And our videographer, Ernie, has been doing our videos for, oh gosh, I think like at least 10 years now. So he knows how to capture, and this is his profession. This is what he does, is recital videography. And he's very good at what he does, and we need to just let him be good at it. And our photographer, Ryan Jackson, his photography company is Reynard Image Maker, and you can look him up on Facebook or even online just at his website. He is an incredibly well-known and prestigious dance photographer. He's done photography for Hubbard Street Dance, for Grand Rapids Ballet, and a lot of other professional dance companies. We're very fortunate to have him, and every year he captures absolutely incredible images of the kids.
So some other details about that rehearsal. Parents can stay and watch the rehearsals, right?
Yes, we actually expect parents to stay and watch. The kids need to start practicing what it's like to have an audience clapping for them. We do request that everybody who's at rehearsal sits in a seat and acts like an audience. So there's no, letting younger siblings run around the auditorium or any disruptive behavior. There's no eating in the auditorium. So we treat it like a performance, but it's just for those parents who are there bringing their kids to rehearse. And a lot of families, after their child's done rehearsing, will choose just to leave. Like they need to go, have dinner or whatever, go on with your life. But a lot of the kids actually end up staying with their families to watch the rest of rehearsal, because it's a lot of fun for kids to watch other kids perform. Now, at the recital, when we have our performances on June 7th and 8th, the kids do not watch one another perform unless they're just standing in the wings and waiting for their turn to go on. So this is their opportunity to sit and watch one another perform, to clap for their friends. And some people stay the entire night, even though they don't have to, just so they can watch the other dancers.
Great. So details about the rehearsal. You can watch, remain quiet, be respectful, clap at the appropriate times, and don't bring any food or drink into the auditorium. It must be done out in the lobby. Holland Christian has been so wonderful to us in letting us use their facility, and we just want to make sure that we respect it.
Absolutely.
Now, if the child is done with rehearsal for the night, are they free to leave at that time?
Yes, they are. They do not have to stay, even though, like I mentioned before, a lot of families will stick around, but certainly you can leave. One thing about the costumes is that you have to be sure that if any of your costumes are borrowed from Avalon, so some of our classes are borrowing costumes, which helps cut down on their costuming fees, those costumes stay at the auditorium so that we can keep track of them for you. And if it's a costume piece you took home from the studio and it's yours to keep after the show, that should come and go from the auditorium with you. One thing we don't do a lot of at rehearsal are the hair pieces. So most of our hair pieces are handmade. We do custom bows or flower crowns, things like that. We make all of that ourselves. And those we do not hand out at rehearsal because they get lost. And I mean, that's just human nature. Things get lost. So we cut down on that risk factor there by just keeping track of all of that for you until right before the kids perform. They get those hair pieces on their recital day.
All right. Now, getting back to the rehearsal and kind of the whole setting up for success that we talked about earlier. Parent helpers, yay.
Yes.
If I'm a backstage helper for my child's class, do I need to be present for the rehearsal?
Yes, if parents have signed up to help with their child's class backstage or in another capacity, it's very helpful if they're at that rehearsal for a couple of reasons. One, it helps the parent helper to know what they're expected to do and how to help the younger dancers to line up backstage and where to go. So all those practical things are helpful. But also, the children backstage, it's helpful to them if they have met you before they are backstage with you at the recital. And also that's a comfort to the other parents who have children in that class, that they know who's going to be responsible for their child and that everybody knows where they're going and what they're doing. So that's very helpful to have the parent volunteers there. However, if there's some reason you really want to volunteer for your child's class at recital and you can't be at rehearsal, we have worked around that in the past a little bit. It's just helpful to know that ahead of time.
And I guess an overview, for me, I always like to stress at any rehearsal that it's just a relaxed attitude. You know, there's going to be some parts that don't go as smoothly as others, but we go back and do it again. Kids come on and off the stage. That's all a natural kind of occurrence of the whole function of there being a rehearsal. So can you give us some overview and some summary of any other details?
Yeah, I think that it's just important to remember that rehearsal is just that. The kids should not be stressed out going into their rehearsal. They should be excited to get a chance to finally go on stage. The teachers do a really exceptional job of preparing the kids for their performance. And so getting to go into the auditorium and getting to go up on the stage, getting to watch the older dancers perform is exciting to them. And so it's important that all the adults in their life, from the faculty at Avalon and the stage managers and the parents, that we all just keep that real big anticipation and excitement. Miss Tori has a saying that she always tells to the kids when they start to feel stressed out. She reminds them, you get to do this. You don't have to do this. You get to do this. We're privileged to do this. And so we need to be thankful and excited to do what we're doing. So that's definitely an attitude we take into rehearsal.
Yes, that this is just a celebration of all the kids have been doing up to this point, and it's a wonderful kind of summary of everything we've put into the semester.
Yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to say about the rehearsal, and that is the dates. I don't think I stated those before. Now, we have a little bit of an unusual rehearsal schedule this year because the auditorium at Holland Christian is not available the Tuesday before the recital weekend. And so therefore, we're going to be rehearsing the Tuesday before that. So there will be Tuesday, May 28th, and then Monday, June 3rd, Wednesday, June 5th, and Thursday, June 6th. So we skip that Tuesday as far as rehearsals go, but we get our 4 days of rehearsal in. And then the performances are on Friday, June 7th at 6 p.m., and then also we have 3 shows on Saturday, June 8th, and those are at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m.
Yes, and of course, if you have a question at any time, give us a call, 616-738-6495, or our email, info.avalonschoolofthearts@gmail.com, and we'll get right back to you. Thanks for joining us on the first edition of Avalon State of the Arts, going through our dance recital rehearsals. Be sure to stay tuned for next week when we take you through recital day to make sure everything runs smoothly. Thanks also to my wife, Marie. I had a delightful time.
It was a lot of fun.
Avalon offers dance classes, music lessons, and theater classes 6 days a week. With over 40 teachers, we have something for kids and adults and everyone in between. You can reach the dance and theater department at avalonschoolofthearts.com and the music department at avalonmusicacademyofholland.com.
Where dreams begin is in that magical space within. When your heart and your mind and your soul intertwine in wonder, that's where dreams begin.